na na na. Family goes, oh na na na. Oh na na na. Come kick it with the Casey's. All that love and all those babies. C-A-S-C-Y. Welcome to the lives. Welcome. C-A-S-C-Y. DJ Envy and Gia, oh oh. It's time to kick it with the Casey's. You're tuned into the Casey crew.
What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
And I am Gia Casey.
And this is another edition of the KC Crew.
Welcome. Hello, beautiful people.
And it's official. Our book is in stores right now. So make sure you pick it up.
Yes.
Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, Audible, wherever you buy books, make sure you pick it up. And let us know what you think, all right?
It's been an exciting week.
That's right. You can email us, thekcrew@gmail.com. You can hit us in the DMs. You can leave comments. And we'd love to know. We put a lot into this book, and hopefully you guys can get a lot out of it. So,
yeah, there's a picture section in it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Right here.
I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, because the picture section inside with pictures from when Rashawn and I were younger, family photos, and whatnot. But I'm really excited. We've been doing press all week. And we just got back from doing a little bit of press. This morning we had Miss Jones in the morning.
That's right.
Then we went on to do Good Day New York with Rosanna Scotto.
Yep.
That was great. And then we rushed back home to shoot this podcast for you guys. So tomorrow...
Well, we're doing all over the place because we don't know when somebody's going to be watching this, but we're doing the Breakfast Club, we're doing Angie Martinez, we're doing Elvis Duran. So just keep us in your mind, and just support and keep following us because we're so grateful and thankful. So thank you guys so much. Now, this week has been a crazy week. Friday, we went on date night, and we went to go see Vibes Cartel out in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. If you're not West Indian, I'm sure you heard of Vibes regardless. But when I say pandemonium, I mean 2 days of nothing but Jamaican music and Jamaican food. So we went Friday night. Friday night was the first night. Sold out. If there was 20-something thousand inside, there might have been 10,000 outside.
Sold out the Barclays.
Yeah, sold out the Barclays 2 nights in a row.
Not an open seat in the house.
No, he had...
Bonkers.
It probably oversold it because there was so many people out there. I'm sure they snuck in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had set up jerk chicken spots all over Brooklyn. I mean, people were like excited. So the first night we were there, and we had like first row seats, and we walked in to go to our first row seats. And it's funny, the police was like, because you know there's police all over the place because they want to make sure everything is fine. So the police see me, they were like, "Yo, you going to something?" Yeah. They was like, "Where you sitting?" I'm like, I tell them where I'm sitting. They was like, "You sure you want to sit there?" I'm like, "Why?" They was like, "It's Brooklyn, it's Jamaican, it's gonna get crazy." And I'm like,
just all the energy in the room. There was so much energy in the room.
Yes. And he was like, "You're going to smell like weed when you leave." We smelled like weed when we left anyway. But I said, "Well, where do you suggest we go?" He said, "Go on the riser." So we went on the riser, which was cool. We went back and forth. But on the riser was Buju. Buju Banton was on the riser. So, you know, that's Gia's.
You heard the way he said it?
What, Buju Banton? What? What's it say?
Buju Banton.
I'm a Yankee. How you expect me to say it?
I gotta disrespect my favorite artist.
Buju. Okay, Buju.
Just call him Buju.
Buju. Buju. He was on the riser. And Gia got a chance to meet her favorite artist, so which was pretty dope.
Yes.
Who else?
That made my night. Vibes didn't even have to perform.
Yes.
That made my night.
So he brought out Ice Spice the first night. He brought out Busta Rhymes. He brought out who else? I'm trying to think who else he brought out. That was it.
Russian.
Russian he brought out. Rashawn.
Mm-hmm.
Rashawn. That's my name, Rashawn. Which was dope. A lot of energy. I said Spice already. I said Ice Spice.
No, you said Ice Spice. I was just sitting here staring at you waiting. I was like, yeah, because she wasn't there.
He brought out Spice.
Spice Official.
Spice.
Yeah.
My bad. Spice and Ice Spice. My bad. Look, I'm not Jamaican. What do you expect? I only got the one leg line.
Wow.
But he brought out Spice. We seen Cardi B there. It was just
Spice,
a dope show.
hold on. Can we just give Spice a second? Spice killed it.
She did.
The energy when she came out was wild. Like she has serious stage presence. And she did Jim Screechy. She did she did all her stuff. It was dope.
She killed it. So if you do get a chance to see
Ramen
Vibes,
Shop.
Yes. Definitely check out Vibes. I know he's doing Miami, so if you get a chance, definitely check him out. I know next week we're going to see Beanie Man. So Beanie Man's coming to New York.
Is it next week? It's in May.
I think it's next week. Not this week, not Easter, the weekend after Easter.
It's in May.
Oh,
I think.
Maybe not. But whenever Beanie's in town, we're going to see Beanie.
Yeah.
And salute to Vibes and everybody to make sure we had great tickets. Like, Beanie's like a personal close friend of mine, so we're definitely going to support Beanie. So I can't wait to see that show as well. Did you have a good time?
I had a wonderful time. He shut down the whole of Brooklyn.
That's right.
Shut down the whole of Brooklyn. It was a scene.
And then Saturday I seen he brought out Little Kim, I seen he brought out Fabulous, and I seen he brought out somebody else he brought out. Spice came out as well.
Dude with the 4 girlfriends.
Neo.
Wow.
Dude with that's what he is now.
I don't know why I just lost his name for a second.
Dude with the and you made fun of me for saying Ice Spice and not Spice, but dude, like that's
touche.
You act like Neo ain't put up multiple records,
his
has
name,
Grammys and all that.
No, his name was lost.
You see what happened?
For a moment.
See what happens? See, my man got a couple of girlfriends now. Now it's dude with the 4 girlfriends.
That's just for a moment. I would never disrespect Neo. I love his music.
All right. Well, let's get the show cracking.
Uh-huh.
Now, this morning we did Miss Jones in the morning. If you're ever in New York, she does a show on 94.7 The Block, which is the throwback station, which is records. It's usually hits from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Dope station. We were on her station. She asked a question to Gia, which I thought would be great. She asked about her son. So while we were doing the interview, she was like, oh my God, I got to wake up my son because he has to go to school. So she joked and was like, yo, how do I get my son to wake himself up? Like, this is ridiculous. And Gia broke down dependency when it comes to parents and how we raise our kids. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So Gia asked, well, Miss Jones asked you, how do you raise kids that are not dependent on their parents like that? And you answered her. So let's go through what you said.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, to raise kids that are responsible and confident and empowered, you have to raise competent children. Nothing gives a person, let alone a child, more confidence than being able to do something themselves. So I kind of took what Miss Jones said as her being an enabler, you know, like she does a lot for her son, and her son's in high school. He goes to a really great high school, and at that big age, she's worried about waking him up to make sure that he makes it to school on time. I can't imagine having to wake my grown kids up in the morning. Even my littles, with the exception of Pepe, they have an alarm. They have an alarm, and they have a second and a third alarm. So what they do is they set the first one to just kind of get them up, and then they do like a little snooze. And the second one, they usually get up, but if they want a little extra time, they have another one for another 3 minutes, and they wake themselves up, you know? And what I also told her is that, like with our kids, I never check homework. Never, ever, ever check homework. It's their responsibility to get their homework done. It's their responsibility to make sure that they're prepared for tests. Yes, they bring me all of their tests so that I can see their grades, but that is their responsibility. And you know what taught me that? When I was a kid, it was a rule in my house, deemed by my mother, that I had to get good grades. I had to be a straight A student. My mother's Jamaican, like, it's just part of our culture, you know? So with her doing that, it made me feel as though I had to get good grades for my mother, to please my mother. I had to get good grades or else I would get in trouble, you know, and that was kind of the stigma on it. And a lot of parents raise their kids like, oh, you know, you better get at least a B or whatever. I didn't want to raise my kids like that because I realized the flaw in that. When your kids get good grades, it's for them. It's for their benefit. I'm not going to get a good job based on going to a great elementary school, high school, college, and beyond. Like that education isn't going to serve me. That's going to serve you. That's to your benefit. And I remember sitting Madison and Logan down and explaining to them the value of getting good grades. And that's really what we said. Like, You get good grades in elementary school and middle school so that you can go on to the high school of your choice. Because unless it's your zone school, you have to apply to a high school. And based upon your grades, they can deny you. So if you want the world to be at your feet, you get good grades, you can choose the high school that you go to.
Mm-hmm.
If you get good grades in high school, you can choose the college that you go to instead of being pigeonholed into the college that accepts you. Because you might want to go to school in LA, you might want to go to school in New York, you might want to go to school in Miami, you might want to go to school in Boston, but you don't want to take whatever is given to you. You want to have the power to decide. And then based on the college that you go to and the education that you get, you can move on to have the career of your choice instead of getting a job or getting stuck somewhere. You start laying the eggs now at this young age. So you get good grades so that you're able to have choices and live the life that you choose. So don't do it for me. If you get a C, don't come crying to me like, oh, mommy, I got a C or I got a D and I'm going to get in trouble. That's on you. That's on you. And that's how we raise them. Like, you need to be disappointed in yourself because you could have done better, but for whatever reason you didn't. That can affect you. And that's just kind of the way that we teach them to be competent and responsible, because you go about it by teaching them the pros and the cons based on the decisions that they make. But getting back to that particular situation, when you raise competent children, then they feel good about themselves. Now they're getting good grades, or they're able to cook, they're able to clean, they're able to maintain things, they're able to do things on their own, which when they do that, what happens? You give them more responsibilities. More responsibilities equals what? More freedom, right? So the competence within them is showing, improving, and it's growing, and they're realizing the benefits of being a competent individual. So waking a kid up who's, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old because they can't get up on their own, it just lets them know, like, oh, if I don't do it, mommy's going to do it. Yeah, I could just sleep, but mommy's going to have to come in the room. Mommy's going to be my human snooze button. First of all, I don't have time for that. And it teaches a bad lesson.
Right. So we were having that conversation because she was like, how do I break out of being the one to call? And that's how she does. And like I told her, we were on air, I said, sometimes your son might need that punishment, that I have to run extra miles, that I have to, they're going to take my this away from me. So for Logan, it was the same thing. So, Logan used to play for University of Miami. I don't know if he's going to play next year. The season's over. But he was late one day, right? And he was late on his own. Same thing. His alarm clock didn't go. He forgot to set the alarm, whatever it may be. And they made Logan roll from the goal line to the other goal line, roll the all the way and then roll all the way back. He said the teammates, his coaches, everybody was laughing at him. He said when he rolled down there the first time, it was funny. But he said when he had to roll back, he was like, this ain't funny no more. And he was never late again. He got that punishment. He fixed up immediately. But that's what it is. Before we continue on, I got to talk about the book, because we talk about all this in the book. For somebody out there that's watching right now that maybe doesn't have kids, or maybe that's a single mother, or maybe has multiple kids, why would this book even matter to them?
Because the family structure is facing so many challenges today. I feel as though the idea of family is kind of under attack in a sense. And a lot of people, when you begin a family, it's like you throw everything against the wall and you see what sticks. You see what works, you see what doesn't. But to me, this book is like having the roadmap before you get into the car. It's a resource that when you open it up and you read it, it lets you know so many of the pitfalls that inherently comes along with being a parent and trying to raise a happy, successful family. So I think that it's beneficial for everyone, no matter what your position is in life, whether you're a single parent, whether you are a parent that has a partner, if you're raising great kids and just want some tips. If you are raising kids and you're hitting a wall, you're having struggles like we all have or had, this book pretty much helps you get around it. It helps you see the bigger picture in a lot of situations, because a lot of times as parents, we don't have time to really even understand ourselves, let alone our kids, let alone what's going on in the sphere within the house. You know, it's just like today, Joan said, you know, a lot of times her son will ask her, son's like, no, you can't go. You can't do it. I don't have any money. I'm broke. Leave me alone. Like, go away. It's like, because life is like a pressure cooker. So many responsibilities, so many burdens. So a lot of times people don't take the time to just sit back and analyze what's going on within the home. They don't have time and the bandwidth to really understand the cause and effect relationships that are responsible for what's going on within the home and the problems that may exist. Like I've said before on this podcast, if you have kids with other setbacks like ADD, ADHD, anxiety, you hear so much about that now. And I don't know if it's because society is more cognizant of it, because when we were kids, you didn't really hear ADD, ADHD, anxiety. Now it's just so much more recognition. There's so much more diagnosis, so much more understanding about the topics that it's easier to talk about. It's easier to identify. So we definitely speak to those parents in the book. I just feel that as parents, like I said, we all have the same struggles. You know, we all hit the same walls. We all have the same goals. We want to raise good kids. And I feel as though this book is a guide and it helps you to set your foundation.
That's right.
And you know what? I'm going to say one more thing. I just feel like also in our schools and in society, it's like our history is being stripped away. You know, it's being stripped away slowly but surely, but systematically, you know? And I think that having a strong home foundation helps your children. It's like you're supplying your children with what they need so that they can have a strong identity. Because if they don't understand who they are within the home, it's almost impossible for them to understand who they are outside of the home. And then what winds up happening, they leave it up to other people to tell them who they are. And that results in kids that are overlooked, that are taken advantage of, that are pretty much at the mercy of others. It's not an empowered child. So it really does start in the home. So I really want people to get a grasp of that, and we provide that in the book. And one more thing that I do want to say about the book. Can you pass it to me?
Sure.
I'm sure I could find. At the end of every chapter, I opened up the book to one. We have something called Real Life Reflections, where it's pretty much a reflection on the chapter that you would have just read. And sometimes it highlights the points in bullet point style. And in other sections, like in this section here, it asks a series of questions so that you can reflect on what it is that you've just read and how you identify with the text, whether it probed a thought, whether it provided context for you so that you can maybe come up with your own answers to your own questions, because we don't just dictate. We don't just tell you. We kind of probe you so that you can also come up with answers to your own questions yourself, but in a guided type of way. So when I did this book, I definitely kind of wanted it to be very interactive and do it in like a workbook style. And that's what we did. And I find that it's so helpful. But if you look through the book, it's all throughout the book, so that it's really a tool. It's a tool, and I think that you all will love it. And I can almost promise you that within this book you'll find ways to become a better parent and a better human being.
All right. Well, pick it up if you haven't, and if you do read it, when you read it, or you have the Audible and you listen to it, please let us know what you think. thekccrew@gmail.com. Or you can hit us up in the DMs. We both check our DMs because we'd love to hear what you think about our second book. All right.
The Audible, I read my parts and Rashawn read his parts. So if you buy the Audible, it'll be as though we're just talking directly to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to pillow talk.
What's in, what's out, what's up, what's down, who's trending? I wanna know now. Can we talk? Can we pillow talk now? Can we talk? Let's pillow talk now.
Now, the pillow talk I want to talk about is space. Like alien space. So yesterday, Gail, Katy Perry, and a bunch of other women went to space yesterday. They're saying they're trying to make space affordable, which is still nowhere near affordable.
It's a joke.
I think the ticket is $250,000.
And I think it's $150,000.
$150,000, but it's like 11 minutes. But anyway, regardless.
Let's just put that in perspective. $150,000 for 11 minutes.
All right, well, let's take the price out of it.
Mm-hmm.
If it was free, would you go to space? They fly up in the atmosphere. They go around. They still reach no gravity, so they take off their seatbelts and they're still floating and all that. Would you want to do that?
I would go after it's been up and running on a regular basis for maybe 2 years without any flaws.
Nah, I wouldn't go. I'm good.
At all?
No, because the submarine dudes, that was running for a while, and it just, there were people that actually did the submarine thing and went down there and seen certain things. It just so happened that submarine imploded. So for me, if I don't have to go up there, now if I was to go on space and we stayed and they had built some type of hotel up there, that's different.
You still have to get there and come back.
Yeah, but by that point, they're going to have a lot safer ways to do it. I'm not doing it. Just like I'm not going on a helicopter ride anymore. It's just not for me.
It's funny you said that.
I see things. It's just not for me. I'm not going skydiving. We went once. Once was good enough for me. I experienced it. I know what it feels like. I got the video. I can say, look, I went skydiving. Look at my video. That's it. I'm good. I ain't doing nothing else. Like helicopter, I ain't like a helicopter when we went a couple of years ago.
You didn't like it?
No.
You didn't enjoy that?
No. I don't like those heights, things like that. Plane all day. Big plane, commercial plane. I don't like the prop planes, the helicopter. Private jets even scare me. Yeah. You feel everything. I feel.
It's not that you feel everything.
You do.
I don't think so. I just think that private jets, I just feel as though there's a lot less invested. And this, I'm not saying that this is factual. I just feel as though there's a lot less invested in the safety of 6 than how many people in a typical flight? 200,
300, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it doesn't make me feel as protected. And it's funny, we were talking about this earlier. Last weekend, I went out to dinner with a bunch of my girlfriends. It was one of my friend's birthdays. Mm-hmm. And on the car ride back, we got to talking about like the summer and roller coasters. And, because if you know me, you know that I love adventure. I'm a thrill seeker. I'm a risk taker. I'll do just about anything. I love the thrill. I love the fun. That is my jam. I've been on probably 15 helicopter rides. Mm-hmm. I've been to Alaska and taken a helicopter to a glacier, landed on the glacier and then explored the glacier. I've taken a helicopter over the world's most active volcano, Mount Kilauea, which is in Hawaii. And it's like you go over and you're hovering over the mouth of a volcano, staring down and looking at the bubbling lava, like insane. I've taken helicopters into valleys where there's waterfalls and it just feels like you could stick your hand out the window and get splashed with the water because you're just hovering. And it's just this feeling. It's so wonderful because planes have to glide, but a helicopter can just like kind of hover where you could take everything in. I've done so many of them, but bring me current, and I don't think that I would do it again. I don't think that I would take my family on a helicopter ride. And we were talking about it in the car, like I said, and everybody was like, well, why? What changed? What changed? And I said, I'm just a lot more protective of my life now. Before, I guess it's because I believed, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. Mm-hmm. God has preserved me thus far. And like I've done all the fun things. I've gone scuba diving and I can't even swim. I've done everything. And I feel like I've done all of that. And now it's time to chill because now I'm more cognizant of the fact that I have 6 kids and I have to be there for them. And I have to really protect myself. Before it was just like, oh, balls to the wall, YOLO type thing. So when they asked me, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't go on a helicopter ride. And they said, why? I'm like, look at all the helicopters that have been going down. Mm-hmm. Like in the last few years, there've been a couple that went down taking off from New York, like Hudson River. I've read of some that went down, tourist helicopters in Hawaii. And it's just like you hear more about it. I'm like, I wouldn't take my family's life for granted in that way. And then just a few days later, that horrible helicopter accident that I'm sure that you all have heard about. I don't know if it made national news.
I'm sure it did.
So if you guys are listening or watching from somewhere that's like not the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, even probably Pennsylvania, a helicopter carrying 6 people, 5 of them.
It was a pilot.
Yes, it was a family of 5 and a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 parents and 3 children, like maybe 3, 4, and like 11, I believe. Don't quote me, but something like that. Took off from New York City and went down shortly after, right off the coast of New Jersey, right off the coast of Hoboken, and all involved died. And I was glued to the television that day, and I was thinking to myself, like, my gosh, we just talked about this a few days ago, and look at this. And it was so devastating. Like he said, a family from Spain that was just here on holiday. So as far as the spacecraft, I think if it was up and running for 2 years with no incident, it's something I'd be interested in doing. But you have to think, do you know the risk that we take just getting into the car and driving somewhere every day?
Still.
They say that risk is far greater than any plane, any helicopter, anything. Like you take such a significant risk just getting into a car every day.
That's right.
So that's something I consider if it was proven to be safe. Nothing is without any incident.
I get it, but I look at it like this, right? I've been in a couple of car accidents, right? Nothing big. Like somebody ran to the back of me. You got into an accident one time. But yeah, we were fine. We get an accident on a plane or a helicopter, 9 times out of 10, we ain't gonna be fine.
I'm good. I
money.
would love to look up the statistic. Hey, Estat, if you don't mind right now, how many car crash fatalities happen per day in the United States? That's all I want to know. So he said 100 to 200 helicopter crashes in, what was that?
What kind of number is that? 100 to 200? Like usually it's 200 to 210.
100 of them were bad.
100 of them were bad.
Or like minor. 10 to 20 of them were fatal.
Nah, okay.
10 to 20.
Well, he'll post the accident then because I know it's harder to hear him.
Yes. So anyway, I do want to know how many car accidents or fatal car accidents happen every day in this country. And then it puts the risk that you take by getting into a car in perspective.
I mean, they always say that, flying on a plane is less likely.
1,000 people died in 2022 from car accidents.
42,000 people died in
2022.
Why are you talking about 2022? We're in 2025.
He's pulling the statistics up.
In 2022 from car accidents in the United States.
So to answer your question, there's way more. You have a higher probability of dying or get into a car accident than a plane. But the difference is
40,000 a year.
But the difference is
fatalities.
The difference is I feel like I can control my own destiny in my car.
You can't.
But that's what it feels like because I can drive. And that's somebody can just hit me and this, that, and the other as long as you're not paying attention. But when I'm in that air.
As long as you're not paying attention, that's not true.
When I'm in that air, I got to give it all up to the pilot. I got to give it all up to everything else that's up there. Bird hit my plane. I just rather be in control. That's how I am.
Realistically.
So you go in that helicopter.
I'm not going in the helicopter.
Oh, okay.
Realistically, you give it all up to everybody on the roads.
Yeah.
Because you could be driving and paying the utmost attention and someone can run a red light or a stop sign and end your life. It just happened to that poor woman and her daughter a few weeks ago in Brooklyn, right? It was in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Just walking across the street and somebody ran.
Someone hit another car and then hit her, something like that. But you have no control. You can be as aware as humanly possible, but you have zero control. Again, 40,000 fatalities approximately a year in this country in car accidents.
120 every day.
120 fatalities every single day.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm still not doing it.
Did that math? 120 every day? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm still not doing it. But I'm glad that you're not going to space because I am not either. But I just wanted to hear from you. Would y'all go on space? Would you go to space? Would you get on one of them aircrafts and shoot to space and fly around for 11 minutes and come back? Not me. Please let me know. thecaseycrew@gmail.com.
I think that'd be incredible.
Nah, I'm not doing that. Now let's get to the email of the week.
If you don't know what to do or think, put it in a letter, just send it. We'll read it in the email of the week. The email of the week.
Now this is a long one, but I thought this was good, especially because we have our book, Real Life, Real Family, out right now. Now, I've recently begun binge watching Kevin Samuels videos about to catch the attention of high-valued men like Envy. In case you forgot, Kevin Samuels is your average at best YouTuber. He passed away too. Clearly, Gia has the qualities that Kevin says high-valued men want. which I assume contributes to your 20-year plus marriage. I have a daughter in college, and I'm fearful that I raised her to desire high career success. She wants to make good money, which is why she's in college. She wants to work, be independent, successful on her own. However, high value men want a beautiful, smart, fit young woman willing to bear his children and stay home and raise them. I think she threw a shot at you. I'm realizing, I know, I'm just kidding. I'm realizing that only 1 out of 4 black women get married because our culture doesn't teach them how to be wives. Like, yeah.
Wow.
And I fear that I haven't taught my daughter how to be a wife. Unfortunately, highly educated professional women that are independent and make 6 figures are the least likely to get married. I would love both of your views on how black women should raise their daughters, and if you agree with Kevin Samuels, because Gia is the epitome of what he describes as a woman who lands a high value man. When I say raise their daughters, I mean it's important to teach daughters to serve men, be submissive, and be willing to be housewives, and put aside their high career aspirations in hope of landing a high value $250,000 man plus. Because if you don't land them by 30, you have to settle on an average $50,000 earner, which most 100,000 plus female earners will end up emasculating in a relationship and end up a divorced single mom. Out of curiosity, envy, if you never met Gia, do you think you would choose a highly successful woman like a partner in law firm or brain surgeon to marry and have kids? Thank you for your input. Been a faithful viewer, listener since the beginning.
Bravo to the question.
So what do you think?
Ooh, that's a good, she got my attention. And I have all these thoughts swirling around in my head about it right now. I think that it would be better suited for you to start answering this question.
Okay.
Because you're the man. And disclaimer, I know as much about Kevin Samuels probably as a lot of you, like maybe scrolling on Instagram and seeing a few viral things here and there. I wasn't necessarily aware of what he categorizes as the epitome of what would be a life partner for a high earning man. So
yeah, I didn't like a lot of his thoughts, and it was known.
Did you guys interview him?
No, we never did. I didn't like a lot of things he said, because a lot of times I think he put down a lot of black women. But let's rewind a little bit. Okay, so the first question you asked me, if I didn't marry Gia, would I date or marry a high what's the word?
High earning woman.
A high earning woman.
Successful, professional, high earning woman.
Right. Okay. I didn't date Gia because she was a high earner, or I just connected with somebody on a level that I thought was amazing. I didn't care if she was going to be a brain surgeon, if she was going to be an astronaut, or if she was going to be a teller at McDonald's. I wasn't there for that. I was there for this thing called LOVE, which is love. So to answer your question, if I wasn't with Gia and I was in the dating world, I wouldn't care if somebody was a brain surgeon. I wouldn't care if she was a CEO of a Fortune 500 company making billions of dollars. That stuff doesn't matter to me. It wouldn't be emasculating, because at the end of the day, I'm a man. And in this household, we do things together. I know in some households, it's like the women does this and the men does that. And we do have those things here, but it's not until an emasculating type of thing. So to give you a perfect example, I take out the garbage. It's just what I do. But I also cook. I also do dishes. I also wash the laundry at times. It is what it is. Gia does all the things that I say. If I'm not home and there's garbage, Gia's going to take the garbage out. Gia's not going to leave the garbage there and be like, well, that's not my job. I'm going to wait till Rashawn comes back to do that. No, it doesn't work like that. We are a team in this household, and we work things as a team. Now, she's still my wife, and I do things that I just don't want her to do. I don't want her lifting heavy garbage. I do that shit. I don't want her outside shoveling snow. I do that shit. But please believe, if she had to, she would. She wouldn't sit back and be like, I ain't breaking my nails, so I'm not doing my nails. That's not the relationship that we have. So now, to raise your daughter, Gia might look at it differently. It is what it is, but, we'll see. So when it comes to raising our daughters, and I'll start with Madison, right? Madison's 23. She's our oldest. I didn't raise her to look for an individual that was high valued or less than high value. I wanted her to be strong, confident, smart, and to have her own. to be independent. Why? Because I never wanted her to have to rely on anybody, whoever it was. I wanted her to have her own. Does my daughter know how to cook? Of course she does. Does she know how to hold a conversation? Of course she does. She's learned from Gid. But I never wanted her to feel like I have to depend on anybody. So the fact that your daughter is independent does not make it a negative thing. You want your daughter to be independent. You want your daughter to have her own. You never want your daughter or your child to feel like they have to be there because this person is paying the bill. That's not what we're going to do. That might have been years ago, but that's not how I want my daughter to live. I want my daughter to feel secure, comfortable, educated on everything out there. There's no longer the days where the man takes care of everything. The man pays the bills. The man doesn't tell the woman anything. The man goes out and you got to shut the fuck up and you got to live with it. That might happen in other places, but that's not going to happen here. I have 4 girls and I teach my girls and I treat my girls the same way. We all talk about, men and women being on the same page, but it seems like sometimes people don't want to see that or they don't want to hear that. But in this household, that's how it's going to be. Because I never want them to feel like I have to rely on this. I have to stay in a situation because this person pays my bills. I have to stay in a situation because this, that, and the other. That's not what it's going to do. So to answer your question, I think the way that you raise your daughter is amazing. You said she's smart. She's brilliant. She's college educated. She's going on to be big things and do big things. That's wonderful. Now, nobody's saying to put a man down, but you want her to have her own. And I think that she will meet that person one day, whenever that may be. I think a lot of times, a lot of women and men, I think they're looking for something. And a lot of times when you're looking for something, you don't necessarily find what you're looking for. Because the main thing, in my opinion, you could say it's bullshit. You could say I'm full of shit. But I think people should be looking for love. Because at the end of the day, looks go, money can come and go. But that LOVE word, when somebody has your back and you know that they ride or die for you, that will never go. No disrespect to my baby here. I love you. I don't care how she looks. I love her regardless. I don't care if she got a pimple on the middle of her forehead and a pimple on the middle of her ass. It don't matter to me. I love
matching pimples.
Matching pimples. I love her for who she is. I love her how she makes me feel. I love how she makes my world go around. Everything else comes to play. It doesn't matter if we live in a huge house or we live in a shack. It doesn't matter if we live in New York or we live in Idaho. It don't matter because at the end of the day, she makes me happy and I want to be happy. Money doesn't make me happy. Being a high value man doesn't make me happy. None of that shit makes me happy. What makes me happy is being able to count on somebody, being able to love somebody and somebody to be able to love you back, right? Because you look at somebody like, you see these billionaires and they pass away from cancer, or you see these billionaires and they pass away from this. You know what you can't beat with cancer? Money can't beat cancer. Some of these diseases money can't beat. Money can't help health. It can help you get healthier by the foods and things that you eat. But when you get to a point, you can have $1 trillion. When it's your time to go because your health is fucked up, it's your time to go. And in that situation, I don't want the person that's just with me because I'm a high value man. I want the person that's with me because they love me.
So I think that, and it's funny, we got asked this question the other day. And when I know it's coming out, we'll promote it and tell you when it's coming out. But we were on a podcast the other day and they asked the question similar, not similar to the emailer's question, but basically the relationship between money and happiness.
Correct.
And it's so interesting to me that not even that, but how we as people, we believe that if we have money, then we are automatically going to be happy. And I know, and I would assume that you guys probably know, some of the people that you know with the most money, some of the wealthiest people are the most unhappy. Money cannot provide happiness. Can it make life easier? Yes.
Absolutely.
Is it a bonus? Absolutely. Can it make life a little happier? Yes. It feels nice to wear nice clothes or to have a nice, heavy, down-filled winter coat when it's cold outside, like a nice quality anything, like a nice quality mattress to sleep on, and just our creature comforts. The higher the quality, yes, the better the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But you ask yourself this question. If you are unhappy, if the person that you love the most just passed away or left you, is a handbag going to make you feel better?
Mm-hmm.
If something happens to your mother or your father, your child, your brother, your sister, is a nice car going to make you feel better?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not going to make you feel happier. It's not going to fill that void. It's not going to do anything for you. And there's been times in my life where I have been sad, and I looked around and thought about the material things that I owned and how utterly insignificant those things really were. And it seems to be most people's goal in life to hit a level of success where you're making a certain level of money so that you can provide yourself a certain lifestyle. Now, is that wonderful? Clearly, right? But I find that what makes human beings happy
Mm-hmm.
is love, family, joy, excitement, feeling as though you're a part of something meaningful, as though you're a part of something that matters. That's what life and happiness is really about. And when you put it on a scale, if you have all of the things without that, the scale tips in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, to be coming from a place where the focus is your daughter
Mm-hmm.
finding a high value man, and by value, we're talking about monetary value. I'm not really sure exactly how you put it in the email.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to call it a high value individual. You guys know what I'm referring to.
Mm-hmm.
To find a high value individual, a high earner. Is it great if he's loving and has the right chemistry with your daughter and can be the most wonderful life partner and a high earner? Absolutely. But the high earner shouldn't lead her interest.
Mm-hmm.
The interest should be finding someone that she's compatible with, that, like I said, she has chemistry with, whose company she actually enjoys, who actually fulfills her and makes her happy. That should be the goal. I would never set my eyes on somebody based on their earning potential or what they've already come to earn.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that you're thinking is like most. I think that most people prioritize that, but I think that it's a mistake. And I think that's why so many people that earn the most are the most unhappy. So many high net worth couples, they're out and then they're smiling, and then they shut the door and they're miserable within the home because their focus was wrong. He might have been looking at, I don't know, what does Kevin Samuel say? Like, what's his criteria? What? You're looking for someone that's beautiful and that's this and that's that. So that's what you're interested in. You're interested in the beauty. She's interested in the money. It ain't a match made in heaven. It's not, because you're both there for the wrong reasons. So if you can have both, wonderful, but I don't think that it should lead the charge. There was something else that you said that got my interest. What was it? Okay. Teaching your daughter how to be a wife. So when you said that, you know what it made me think? It automatically made me think that you're talking about a woman that is so career driven and maybe so alpha that when she's in a relationship with a man, whether he's a high earner or not, that she doesn't know how to be soft and let him lead, because she's so used to taking charge and being such a boss in her own life. And I think that's where a lot of your concern is. So you said, you raised her to want to be successful, but maybe you didn't teach her those things. I think that as a mother, yes, it is important for us to teach our daughters and our sons how to be a proper fit within a relationship, to teach them what the needs of their partner might be, to teach them how to compromise, to teach them how to sometimes fall back, to teach them how to be what your partner may need at certain times and how to step up and be who they may not be at certain times. I think that that's very, very important. I don't know if you would consider me an alpha female. Do you consider me an alpha female?
Yeah.
Some people are offended by the word female. Woman?
Who gives a fuck? We can say whatever you want to say.
I know, but it's kind of interesting to me that sometimes people think that that's a strange word, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But do you consider me to be an alpha woman?
I think so.
Okay, possibly. I've never really asked myself that question, but I am strong.
Mm-hmm.
I am assertive in many ways, but at the same time, I also know how to let my husband lead.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to make sure that despite my assertiveness and my convictions, I know how to make sure that he understands that he is the man in our relationship. But it's a give and take. I'm allowed to do that. I'm able to do that. I'm happy to do that because I also have a man that respects my opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a man that respects who I am as a woman, who I am as a person. So it makes me feel good. And it makes me feel safe because I know that I'm with an intelligent, a loving, and a strong man.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that if I let go of the reins and he picks them up, I know that I'm in good hands. Do you know what I mean? So it's a give and a take type of situation. But a woman that always has to puff her chest out and exude masculine energy, I don't think that that works very well in a male-female partnership. I think that it's important for women to be feminine, if you are a feminine woman and in a male-female relationship, to be feminine and embrace that. I embrace my femininity. So I think that I try to walk the balance between being strong and being feminine and giving my husband what I feel that he needs at the appropriate times. And again, the reciprocity with him giving me what I need, again, makes me happy to do so. So yes, I think teaching your daughter how to be in a relationship and to walk that line where she is herself and she's not changing for anybody, but to respect the needs of the person that you plan on spending the rest of your life with and then do the same. I think that that is important.
All right. Well, let us know how that works out for you and your daughter. Please, you can email us at thekcrew@gmail.com. That's THEEKCrew@gmail.com. We'll see you guys hopefully in person on the road. Hopefully we run into you guys. Our book is out right now. Let us know, man. We'd love to talk about it next podcast. So email us, DM us, and we'll see you guys later. We got some more interviews to do today. I'm DJ Envy.
And I am Dia Casey.
She's beautiful, ain't she? We are the KC Crew.
So sweet. Toodles. Now, hold on. This is a little bit of bonus footage. I don't know if we're going to use it or not, but I'm actually genuinely interested in this. You talked about you, right? On the episode, right?
What, talk about what?
With the emailer, you talked about you. What do you think most men think? So I know, but you're very different.
What you mean about most men?
Yeah, do you think that most men?
Yes, I think most men are insecure, and I think most men would like a woman to be submissive, like to be able to boss a woman around, and like to be able to their way or the highway. I think most women would like to be dating that. Absolutely.
So you think it works for both parties?
Yeah, I think most.
So you think that the high-earning man wants a woman who is, I wish I had that whole criteria that she stated. Did she state it in the email? I think she stated some characteristics that's beautiful and that's
I think most
whatever.
I think most want a woman that's just gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna do what he says. I'm gonna shut up and just look pretty. I wouldn't want a woman like that. I want a woman that's going to challenge me on the things that I have to say. I want a partner. I don't want a slave. And then I want her to raise my kids as strong and independent and as educated as my woman would be. So no, I wouldn't want that. But a lot of
but you think that most men. So you think Kevin Samuels is correct in that
And some men, yeah, a lot of men look for that. Absolutely.
So a high earning man, you think, looks for a woman that is beautiful and is just there to sit down, look pretty,
I think
and don't talk too much.
I think in a lot of cases, yeah. But that's not a conversation I have with my friends, so I wouldn't know. But I think, just from what I see, I think so.
And you think that those women are happy to be there because life is easy.
Correct.
Okay, just curious.
Peace. Now, peace.